Have you made of him?
The drug cheat.
Is that a fight you'd entertain?
No, definitely.
At no point, no.
Chris Eubank Jr. is one brave bastard. He got stuck in. He done what he had to do to survive. But it was just a complete shutout victory.
I thought it was a pretty average fight.
Anthony Joshua reacts after Conor Benn beats Chris Eubank Jr. and doesn't hold back, calling out Benn for using drugs. He makes it clear that Eubank Jr. fought with integrity, while Benn's victory is tainted by failed drug tests. Joshua stresses that true competition requires fairness, and Benn's actions cast a serious shadow over his win, leaving fans and fighters alike questioning the legitimacy of the result.
They're not going to accept that. I think what they want to see is, blood, him get hurt and take him out.
Anthony Joshua talks about Chris Eubank Jr.'s loss with real honesty. He shows that boxing is tough, and even a great fighter like Eubank Jr. can struggle with tough circumstances. Joshua also hints at Benn's controversial history, suggesting that the fight wasn't fully fair. Eubank Jr.'s effort still deserves respect, even in defeat.
The undercard fighters that want to earn some money and fight, but it's tough, but I don't know what can be done. I don't know.
Duke McKenzie shows just how drained Chris Eubank Jr. was before the fight. He looked weak and almost like a different fighter. Meanwhile, Conor Benn, with his history of drug issues, had an unfair edge. Even in defeat, Eubank Jr. gave everything he had, and the fight really wasn't a fair test of his true ability.
But I did tip Eubank to win this return fight. But, however, and the whole world knows now, he can't do the weight. He looked an absolute shell. He wasn't even a shell. He looked decimated going into that fight. Just looked like a bag of bones. The minute he did his ring walk, and once I saw him take his gown off, I realised from that point on.
Hamza Shiraz highlights how Conor Benn had a massive physical advantage going into the fight. Not having to cut weight gave Benn extra energy and strength, which completely overshadowed Chris Eubank Jr., who struggled to make the limit. Even though Eubank gave it his all, Benn's condition made the contest unfair from the start.
He's just too much, bro. He's too energetic. He was too strong. Listen, he didn't have to make weight for this. And when you're a fighter, you don't have to make weight, and you've got all that energy, you've got that strength, you're buzzing, bro.
Duke McKenzie sympathizes with Chris Eubank Jr., pointing out the extreme toll of making weight. While Benn may have won, McKenzie stresses the unfairness. Eubank Jr.'s body and mind were pushed to the limit, while Benn had a clear advantage. The commentary shows respect for Eubank Jr. and casts doubt on the legitimacy of Benn's victory.
Conor Benn's not great, but he did a job on Eubank, and I shouldn't say I feel sorry for Eubank. I only feel sorry for him because I know the pain he's had to go through to make the weight. However, 10 million quid will make you feel a lot better the next day. But you want to be able to live to spend that money. The truth is, nobody knows the damage that's been done, physically or even psychologically, the long-term damage that would have been done.
Dave Allen questions Benn's supposed improvement, noting that his jab was inconsistent. While Benn got the win, Allen implies it's hard to judge if he truly performed better, especially against a Chris Eubank Jr. weakened by weight issues. The fight's outcome looks less about skill and more about physical advantages Benn enjoyed.
His jab, he was snatching at it, he didn't want to get it. Was Conor Benn any better than the first time? We don't even know, really. I can't take anything away from it. Conor Benn come out, he had a bit of more.
Dominic Ingle criticizes the overall quality of the fight, admitting it was disappointing. He notes that Eubank Jr. never got a chance to show his real ability, as his legs and energy were gone. Benn may have won, but Ingle's comments suggest the victory came more from Eubank's compromised condition than Benn's skill.
For me, the fight didn't live up to the expectations. I'm extremely underwhelmed how they've pulled that off. Very, very, very poor fight. Disappointing. It came alive in the last round. That's it. The last round it happened, and Conor Benn got the win. Rightly so. But Eubanks tonight didn't turn up. Old overnight. His legs weren't in it.
Eddie Hearn praises Benn's tactical approach, but even he admits the fight was very different from the first. While Benn executed well, the context matters Eubank Jr.'s weakened state, and the weight issues made it easier for Benn. Hearn's praise highlights skill, but the overall story is still about how unfairly Eubank Jr. was put at a disadvantage.
Schooling, really. Won every round, dropped it. 10 more seconds, the fight's over. Different kind of fight, obviously, to the first fight, but needed to box smart and not use his emotions in there. I thought he boxed really well, busted him up to the body, and yeah, massive win for a welterweight to come up to middleweight and avenge that defeat and finally get a victory for the Benn family in the 4th episode.
Adam Smith praises Conor Benn's performance, but it's clear the fight wasn't entirely fair. Eubank Jr. looked drained and struggled to show his usual energy, likely affected by the weight cut and preparation issues. While Benn executed well, the context matters. Chris's efforts were genuine, but Benn's controversial background and prior drug issues taint the victory. This wasn't a true reflection of skill, it was a performance influenced by circumstance. Adam acknowledges Benn's tactical work, but Eubank Jr.'s resilience and courage deserve recognition despite being outmatched physically and unfairly, showing he gave his all even under extreme disadvantage.
Yeah, that's sort of what everyone's saying. I think that Conor Benn boxed really well. I thought he was smart behind the jab. I thought his jabs were excellent tonight to head and to body. I thought his body shots were good. His movement, I mean, Conor Benn put a standout performance on. If you look at Chris, I thought he looked flat. I thought he was sort of stuck in the mud now.
Derek Chisora highlights the struggle Chris Eubank Jr. faced leading into the fight. The effort to make weight and the threat of a huge fine drained him physically and mentally. While Benn may have looked sharp, Chisora points out that Eubank Jr. had done everything possible in training and preparation, yet still went in under extreme disadvantage. This commentary reinforces that Eubank Jr.'s loss isn't a reflection of his skill, but of the unfair circumstances, showing that Benn's victory carries a shadow. Eubank Jr.'s work ethic and perseverance remain unquestionable despite the outcome.
I don't know, he just didn't do, he didn't snap his jab. I think he didn't want to pay that $500,000 fine. So he trained so hard, he lost weight, he didn't want to pay that fine.
Dave Allen gives credit to Benn for his discipline, but he clearly highlights that Eubank Jr. was not at his best. Eubank's weakened condition and prior efforts to make weight left him drained, and Benn's win came under these circumstances rather than outright superiority. Allen emphasizes that discipline in the gym is not the same as in the ring when one fighter is physically compromised. Even so, Eubank Jr.'s courage and effort stand out, showing that he fought under extreme disadvantage. The commentary points out that Benn's win is questionable and that the real story is Eubank's resilience.
Any better than the first time? We don't even know really. I can't take anything away from it. Conor Benn come out. He had a bit.
He was more disciplined, wasn't he? He was more disciplined.
But it's easy to be disciplined with a. I'm disciplined on the bag. I go in there and I fall to bits. Someone starts hitting me back. I can't. Conor Benn take nothing away from him. He got the job done. Well done. Fair play. I can't take anything away from it. He lost to a faded Eubank, and then he just beat a shot to bits one. That don't make that, he's not 1-4.
Carl Frosch describes Benn's dominance, but the context is crucial. Eubank Jr. was exhausted from the weight cut and preparation, which left him vulnerable late in the fight. Benn may have looked powerful, but his advantage came partly from Eubank's weakened state and controversial background. Frosch's analysis shows that while Benn scored big moments, Eubank Jr.'s determination and skill were still evident despite being battered. The fight result favors Benn, but the effort and heart of Eubank Jr. deserve praise, showing he never gave up even when the odds were stacked heavily against him.
Benn has just absolutely battered Chris Eubank Jr., wiped him out. He didn't render him unconscious, but he did flatten him, face first on the canvas in round 12, dropped him twice in a 10-7 round, and on my scorecard he won every round except for, you could argue round 3 went to Chris, but it was a shutout performance from Conor Benn.
Carl Frosch breaks down the fight with his usual sharp analysis, highlighting what looks like a shutout performance for Conor Benn, but the numbers don't tell the full story. Chris Eubank Jr. entered the ring drained, suffering from an extreme weight cut that left him physically depleted. Benn may have scored knockdowns and won rounds, but the advantage he held wasn't purely skill. It was boosted by Eubank Jr.'s compromised condition and Benn's controversial history. Frosch's observation on a potential trilogy seems misplaced because in reality, Eubank Jr. never had a fair chance to perform at his best. This commentary reinforces the idea that while Benn may look dominant on paper, the fight itself was heavily skewed, and Eubank Jr.'s heart, technique, and effort throughout 12 grueling rounds deserve recognition. Despite the apparent shutout, fans must separate performance from circumstance.
They could set up a trilogy, so if it's close, they give it to Conor Benn. But listen, it wasn't close. My scorecard reads 120-108. Chris Eubank Jr. may have shared the third round. The Haymaker had that one shared, so I shared it as well with him. but the last round was a 10-7 round, 2 knockdowns. So it was a shutout performance from round 1. Right.
Eddie Hearn praises Benn's approach and mental composure, but his comments inadvertently highlight the unfairness of the fight. While Benn wasn't changed by previous battles, Eubank Jr. entered this fight carrying the burden of an extreme weight cut and physical depletion. Even if Benn's performance looked controlled, the context matters. The fight's difficulty was not equal for both men. Eubank Jr.'s skill, movement, and courage were all tested under harsh conditions, yet he continued to push through, showing heart and resilience. Hearn's praise of Benn, though genuine, overlooks how much Benn's prior advantages, including his energy and controversial history, contributed to the outcome. The true story is Eubank Jr.'s determination and commitment despite being heavily disadvantaged, a performance that deserves far more respect than the scorecard suggests.
But Conor was right in that, the performance tonight was unbelievable. It didn't matter if Eubank was better tonight, we were still winning the fight. But that first fight, when you go through a fight like that, it can change you forever. But it didn't change Conor Benn, it just made him.
Johnny Nelson's commentary underscores a critical point. Chris Eubank Jr. severely depleted himself in the weight cut, putting him at a dangerous disadvantage. While Conor Benn entered the fight fully energized, Eubank Jr.'s body and stamina were compromised before the first bell. Nelson highlights boxing's brutal reality. Any small disadvantage can become a massive one in the ring, and Eubank Jr. faced exactly that. Benn may have known what he could do, but it's clear he benefited from Eubank's physical state, turning a competitive bout into an uneven fight. This isn't a critique of Eubank Jr.'s skill or effort. He still gave everything but a harsh reminder of how preparation and weight management play a decisive role. Nelson's words serve as a warning that the loss does not reflect Chris's true ability or heart.
I'm not sure what I can get away with from the last fight. For Chris, the pendulum is, he's rinsed himself down that much, he's thinking he can do it again. As I said, anybody can get down to the weight, it's what you can do with the weight. Boxing's the worst place to be if you aren't going to put yourself at a disadvantage, because it's the only place you can legally get killed. And so what Chris did was, Chris depleted any advantage he had.
Chris Eubank Jr.'s words reveal his confidence and determination even under extreme circumstances. Despite weight struggles, physical depletion, and facing a controversial opponent, Eubank Jr. believed in his skill and experience. This quote highlights his professionalism and mental strength, showing that he never lost faith in his ability to compete. The fight outcome, marred by Benn's advantages and questionable tactics, doesn't diminish Eubank Jr.'s courage or effort. He relied on boxing fundamentals and his previous performance, demonstrating that the real battle was not only against Benn in the ring, but also against the physical challenges imposed by weight cuts and the unfair dynamics of the bout. His statement reinforces that true skill and heart can shine even in defeat.
I only thought that regardless of the issues that I've been dealing with, I would be able to go in there and win. Use my boxing skills, use what you guys saw in that first fight to beat Conor Benn.
After all the analysis, one thing is clear. Chris Eubank Jr. gave everything he had in the ring, even when his body and energy were completely drained. Benn may have technically won, but the victory came under circumstances far from fair, from extreme weight cuts to questionable preparation advantages. Eubank Jr. faced a fighter who was not only energized, but had a controversial history that cast a shadow over the result. Watching Chris fight, you could see the heart, the skill, and the resilience of a true professional who refuses to give up no matter the odds. Benn, on the other hand, may have looked dominant, but it was a dominance built on factors outside the purity of boxing skill. Now, we want to hear from you. Was this truly Benn's win, or did Chris Eubank Jr. deserve more credit for his incredible effort under impossible conditions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, share this video with fellow boxing fans, and make sure you're subscribed to stay updated with every breakdown and reaction from the biggest fights in the sport.